Ryan here with Prudential Pest Solutions, and in this video I'm going to show you how we kept birds and bats from getting behind these nice, beautiful retractable shutters. Let's take a look. So as we can see, the client was complaining that they were seeing bat droppings on their front patio here. Now, where the bats were hanging out were behind these shutters. Now, unlike your typical modern home construction where the shutters are just decorative and they're just screwed right onto the wall, these are actually functioning shutters. It's a historic building, so these are functioning shutters. So we need to come up with a way that we can keep the bats and the birds from coming and hanging out back there, while also making sure that it looks good, right? Because we're not going to just pump a bunch of, yellow or pink expansion foam back there. And then what that can do then too is it can allow moisture to just sit back there and rot the shutters out. So we don't want to do that, but we need to keep the animals out and it needs to look great. So what we came up with was using 1/2-inch hardware cloth, affixing it to the back of the shutters, essentially bending it backwards, putting the shutters back on, not back on, but closing the shutters, I should say, and then running just a little bead of sealant just to make sure there's no gap on there. And what that's going to do is going to keep the birds and the bats out. It's also going to allow airflow back behind those shutters. So you can see here what I did was I just used some metal lath screws, some 1/2-inch hardware cloth, and I only made the strips maybe about this wide, affixed it flat onto the back of the shutter, and then you're going to see here that all I'm going to do is I'm going to bend it, because it's malleable metal. It's not going to rust or anything like that. We're going to bend it backwards, back towards the house so that we get a tight seal. Now, in this case, they had a stucco wall, right? But sometimes there's stone or decorative stone or something like that where it's going to be an uneven surface in the back. So that's why we can't just, that's why I want to run a bead of sealant then when we're all finished, so that way it takes any little gap up. So you can see here that we have put the mesh on and we installed it, bent it over, and now we're going to put the shutter, close the shutter and put the little latch on it so that it stays on. And why this technique has also worked well for us is that if the homeowner ever wants to do work on the house or open up those shutters, it's not like the shutters are permanently affixed to the house, so they can still work on it. We may just have to run a new bead of sealant. But as you can see here, very low profile. It's hidden behind the lip of the shutter, but most importantly, we're still getting airflow back there so the shutters aren't going to rot out, and we're not trapping moisture. The other thing is that we're keeping birds and bats out. Now, if you have shutters like this, typically you can do one of two things depending on what your pest issue is. In this case, we wanted to form a actual physical barrier so they couldn't get in there. Now, this is a really close-up look. You can see that we used just some black sealant over top of where the hardware cloth meets the wall, right? So that way it looks great. You can't see anything unless you're really looking for it. And the homeowners were very, very happy. We were happy with how it turned out. But that's what's important when we're dealing with projects like this, is it's not so much, yeah, we can keep animals out, but this is your home, right? And this is a beautiful historic home, but it doesn't matter if it's this home, a multi-million-dollar mansion, or a double wide in a trailer park. Doesn't matter. We need to make sure that it's functional and that it looks nice. So we need to combine that function and aesthetics. But if you do have retractable shutters like this, and you do have bats in there, another option that you can do, besides just sealing them like we did, is you can actually create more of a gap, because more airflow is going to deter the bats. However, birds are going to have the opportunity to live back there. So that's why we decided to go with a physical barrier. So if you have birds, bats, 6-legged, 4-legged critters, pests, doesn't matter, Prudential Pest Solutions is here to help. So give us a call or text us at 484-401-4361. We're a family and veteran-owned company servicing all of Berks County, Chester County, and southeastern Pennsylvania.